Everybody, this is Dreaming back to do another Dinosaur King tier list, and this time we are doing the grass dinosaurs. This will be an interesting tier list because this will be the first tier list where there'll only be one armoured dinosaur, where in the previous ones there were two, or more. In the case of fire you had 3, water 2, lightning 2, earth 2. Grass only has 1, and as does wind dinosaur, as does wind as well. So this will be a very interesting one, so maybe we'll see something new go into S tier. I've also been contemplating with regards to the super dinos. I'm thinking about just doing them in a separate tier list, so leave a comment down below if you'd like to see that. Of course, after I do grass, wind, secret, and then the move cards, then I do super dinosaurs, and then maybe I could do like armor, alf, stuff like that. Never ending tier lists. Because it would be quite difficult to do the tier list, all the dinosaurs in one big tier list. It'd be quite difficult. It'd take like 5 hours long. Maybe I could compile all the dinosaurs together, maybe? I don't know. Because I'm thinking of doing a dinosaur tier list by strength. So gold, silvers, bronzes, 1400, 1200 hours, stuff like that. But anyway, enough about that. Let's just get on with this tier list. And let's begin. And we start with Procerolophus. Procerolophus is one of those dinosaurs that only ever got one printing, but it does have actually it had two printings. It got the Gexan third printing and a revival type print. Is Procerolophus pretty decent? Let's have a look at his pardon me. Let's have a look at his stats. 700, 500, 500, pretty standard stats. The fact that his crit is scissors does hurt it a lot. Would I say it's a good silver dinosaur? I wouldn't say it's amazing, and I'm going to put it in B tier. I don't think it's one of the best silver dinosaurs. Certainly not bad. Okay, now for Camptosaurus. Again, Camptosaurus had 2 printings. Well, it had multiple printings, but 2 battle types. And it had revival type as well. Camptosaurus, have a look. The fact that it is a paper crit is pretty good. Paper and rock are pretty much the crits you want. Paper because super impact, rock because 2 platoon crush, if you really want to go for power. Support moves are good for grass. Well, Thorn Whip is what it is. Emerald Garden is pretty decent. Nature's Blessing is not too bad. Green Impulse is a pretty good move, in my opinion. So yeah, grass dinosaurs have quite a lot of good super moves. But obviously the crits you want are rock and paper, because scissors only has Bigfoot Assault. And if you want to go for the attack, you want a good rock and paper crit. And Camptosaurus, for a 1000 strength dinosaur, definitely does have a pretty good paper crit. So, and it does have decent attack. So I'm going to put it in B tier. I think it deserves B tier. I don't think it's as good as Procerolophus, though, because Procerolophus does have the bulk on its side. And, you know, the bulk seems to be more favoured than the attack. So regardless of how much attack this guy has, it would probably still need the same number of hits to kill Procerolophus as, say, a Procerolophus would need a certain number of hits to kill this guy. But yeah, Camptosaurus, a solid dinosaur, not the worst 1000 strength dino in the world. It's in the middle. Right, now for Maiasaur. Maiasaur is an interesting one because based on all its battle type, well, all bar 1, which is Blitz type, Maiasaur loves to favour ties. You have tie attack, tie type, tie recovery type, and charge type. And 2 platoon crush gets triggered after a tie. And Maiasaur's crit is rock. It is very good with 2 platoon crush. And Maiasaur does pack a wallop with 740, which is, I believe, the highest base rock crit. It's not the highest rock crit out of the rock dinos. That actually amazingly goes to the Tyrannosaurus, which is amazing. But yeah, Maiasaur is definitely a beast. And I'm going to put it in A tier. I think it deserves to be A tier. A lot of the 1400 strength dinos are very good, in my opinion. Very underestimated. And Maiasaur definitely fits in that category. And hell, I used it for Adolf Adams' tournament and it's definitely served me well. And the reason why I used it in that tournament is, again, because I wanted to use 2 platoon crush, and Maiasaurus seemed to fit the bill perfectly for 2 platoon crushness. Okay, now for Ulura Titan. Ulura Titan, one of the last grass dinosaurs to be added to the game. Recovery type, I don't actually know what that does, and tie recovery type. Where Ulura Titan falls short for me is his crit. Is scissors, and it has a pretty beefy crit as well. And that really does hurt it. But it does have more attack overall than the other bronze dinosaurs, and it has more technique, so that does favour it. But purely based on the fact that its crit is what it is, I'm going to put it above Procerolophus. I think it's better than Procerolophus, but I feel like these two definitely fall short on the crit department. Right, now for Paris. Well, straight to the point, S tier, no real argument. Is it one of the best armoured dinos? I wouldn't say it's the best armoured dino, probably one of the weaker ones, but Paris Dinotector and, well, Parasaurolophus Dinotector, because they're both the same thing. Pretty good dino, paper crit, decent stats, but yeah, not too bad. Not too bad for an armoured dinosaur, and, well, out of all the grass dinosaurs, probably the best one, purely because of the Dinotector. Okay, Lanzosaurus is an interesting one, because Lucky 7 type, which boosts its technique when you hit the sign on 7, and that's pretty good for Lanzosaurus, because it does have relatively low technique for a silver dinosaur. I don't know exactly how much technique it gains, but the fact that it gains technique is really, really good. It has pretty beefy attack as well. A very good paper crit. In fact, the highest paper crit if you're going on base damage at 850. And on top of super impact, it would be 1350 damage in total. So yeah, Lanzosaurus is pretty good, and I think deserving of A tier. I'm going to put it above Maya because obviously it packs more of a punch than Maya, has a bit more bulk to it, and you can with the Lucky 7 type, you can boost the technique. So yeah, I think it deserves to be above Maya. I do think it's better than a Maya. And definitely one of the better silver dinosaurs for the grass dinosaurs, that is. Right, now for Coryphosaurus. Coryphosaurus, very attack-minded grass dinosaur here. You have counter type, which is very good with super impact, and Coryphosaurus has a paper crit, and you have the attack type version as well. And Coryphosaurus 820, a very respectable crit, and if you use the attack type one, I'm sure the counter type one will pack a punch as well, because super impact gets triggered after a loss. So yeah, Coryphosaurus, I think deserves to be up here. Do I think it's better than Maiasaura? Yeah, I'm going to say it does edge out Maiasaura on technique and that. On its technique and the fact that if you use the attack type one, it will have more attack than the Maya. And super impact, I would probably say is a better move than 2 Platoon, because you want to use Nature's Blessing. Of course, then with Maya, you want to use Green Impulse. You know, it's 50-50. I'd say they're on par with each other, but for me, I think Coryphosaurus just about edges out the Maya. But definitely, these two are really good dinosaurs. Right now, for Lambeosaurus, quite a popular dinosaur. Lambeosaurus. Again, kind of like the Maya, it has a lot of tie-based battle types. Tie-type, charge-type. It also has heroic type. So it kind of calls out for you to use 2 Platoon Crush on it. However, where Lambeosaurus falls short is the crit. And the crit is Scissors. If the crit was Rock, then Lambeosaurus would most likely be on par with Lanzosaurus. But for the reason that this crit is Scissors, I'm going to put it has a better crit than Procerolophus, but again, the Scissors crit hurts it. I'm going to put it by here. I don't think it's amazing, to be honest, but I do think it edges out Procerolophus on the technique, but, you know, Procerolophus does have more attack. It's like the situation with these two. They're pretty much on par with each other, if I'm honest. So yeah, that's where Lambeosaurus would go for me. Right, now for Edmontosaurus. Again, one of the last grass dinosaurs to be released. Reform type, which can be good, but a bit random. Has pretty balanced stats. So the fact that its crit is Scissors doesn't hurt it as much. I'm going to put it by here. I don't think it's too amazing, but it's definitely not bad. I think these two do edge it out on these three edge it out on the bulk, and in Ulura Titan's case, the technique as well. Edmontosaurus, a solid B tier. Alright, now for the joke that is the cartoon Synteosaurus. This thing is, well, again, it has a Scissors crit, because, you know, all the grass dinosaurs like having Scissors crits. It's a decent crit for a 1200er. It's tie recovery type. It has a good technique, so you could use Green Impulse on it, and it would be slightly relatively consistent. Cartoon Synteosaurus, is it better than Camptosaurus? I'd probably say no. I'd say Camptosaurus is better, and I'd probably give it a low B. It's a cool it's kind of a meme dino, but it does have its strengths, but mostly weaknesses. Okay, now for the Parasaurolophus. Parasaurolophus, in my opinion, the best grass gold we have. Well, if you exclude Super Parasaurolophus and Paris. And I'm going to put you up here because I think it's a high A. I really do. I'm thinking now, because obviously we only have one armor down. I'm thinking of putting it into S tier, if I'm honest. Defense type is pretty good on it, and it has a lot of bulk to it. Crisis type is also pretty good on it, and well, Blitz type is not great. I think the technique lets it down. The lack of technique lets it down, and the lack of technique puts me against putting it into S tier. But it's definitely a high A, and one of the best normal goals we have is the para. Rock crit, its moves are more well-rounded, so it doesn't really matter if it has a rock crit that much. But yeah, a pretty solid dinosaur. Pretty solid gold dinosaur. Very, very good. Okay, now for basically its cousin, the Tyrannosaurus. I believe it's Hunter type, which seriously lets it down because it only ever had one print in, which again was Hunter type. And Hunter type isn't amazing. It does, however, have a rock crit, which does help it out a bit. But again, I think the fact that I can't put it any higher than B tier. I'd say on the basis that it has a crit of rock, I'd say edges out these two. But yeah, it definitely falls short compared to Ulura Titan. So yeah, Tyrannosaurus, not amazing, but definitely not bad, and pretty much on par with these two as well. Okay, now for Alpha Rhinoceros, and well, we might as well do a Rhinoceros as well, because they basically almost identical. They both have attack type variants. Of course, the Alpha one can be a poison type as well, and the normal one, heroic type, blitz type, blunder type, has the highest rock crit if you use the attack type variant, has good synergy with 2 Platoon Crush, and you can use Green Impulse on it because it has pretty good versatility to it. This may surprise people. I think it loses out on its bulk, to be honest. I'm going to say the normal one edges out the Alpha one because the normal one seems to have a bit more versatility. But yeah, they're basically on par with each other. Got to put them right next to each other, like a couple. But yeah, definitely really good dinosaurs. For ones that have 1,000 strength, these two are pretty good. Alright, now for Lambeosaurus magnacristatus. Now this thing has a decent paper crit. I think this is basically standard for a lot of the golds. 700, 750, 500, 500. Good use of super impact, as is willpower type, which is pretty good because I do believe that willpower type buff increases your technique, which helps magnacristatus because it has very low technique at 200, and blunder type, which is also pretty good, but you don't really want to use green impulse on this guy because it's not going to get it off. A low A. I'm going to put it in low A. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's good enough to be low A, but in comparison to Para, it's like not even in its league. Parasaurolophus is just so much better. But yeah, Lambeosaurus magnacristatus, definitely not a bad dinosaur, and good enough to be an 8. Okay, now for everyone's favourite girl, Paris. Now, Paris is actually pretty decent because she can have P super counter type, has a crit of paper, so super impact has really good synergy with Paris. She has pretty good technique as well, pretty good versatility to her, and I would probably say a well-deserved A tier. Yeah, well-deserved. Yeah, I'm gonna put it up there. I think she's really good, and I'd say out of the D team dinosaurs, I would actually say she's the best. I'd say she is better than Ace and Chomp. In my honest opinion, that is how highly I rate Paris. I think she's a very strong dinosaur. Now for Saurolophus. Okay, first thing with Saurolophus falls short. Fact that it's a crit of scissors, and it has a better crit than Parasaurolophus as well, so its other two moves won't pack as much of a punch. Does have the technique on his side, but if I'm honest, I think Saurolophus, I'm going to say but there. I actually think it's the worst gold dinosaur, if I'm honest. I don't really rate it at all. Blitz type is pretty decent. The tie type is, what it is. I think, yeah, these two are pretty much on par with each other, and then you got Parasaurolophus in a completely different league. Okay, now for Muttaburrasaurus, which is one I mentioned in one of my Gracious Grass tournament videos, as the dinosaur with one of the dinosaurs with the lowest crit damage, which is good because it's crit is scissors, but its moves are so well rounded you don't really care. Good technique, could pretty much use almost any move, has versatility on his side. Again, the only place where it falls short is its HP, its bulk, because it doesn't have much of it. Hunter type, is not good, but tie type is pretty decent, which you can use with green impulse and such. Do I think, well, first off, I think it's better than the cartoon Centaurosaurus. Second off, I think it's below Camptosaurus. So Camptosaurus does edge out on the fact that its crit is paper and has a decent paper crit. Muttaburrasaurus, so definitely not a bad dinosaur. A much more of an all-rounder. Alright, now for Anatomy Anatotitan. I don't know why I said that. three pretty good battle types: heroic type, attack type, which is really good, and tie recovery. Has very balanced stats, which is really good which is very rare for an attack type dino to have. Which means this will be 650, these two will be 600, which is, for a normal move, that's really high. That's pretty much on par with a black T-Rex. Like, look at that. 600, that's on par with this guy's crit. Like, that is literally on par with some of these guys' crits. Like, Anata Titan is a beast. And for that reason, and on its versatility, I'm going to put it up here. I do genuinely think it's a beast. Really strong bronze dinosaur. Now for Brachylophosaurus. Okay, Brachylophosaurus has strength type, which, you know, doesn't really synergize well with any of the grass moves. It's still a decent battle type. And lethal type, which can be pretty good. And actually has the exact same stats as Anata Titan, except for his crit is scissors. Which is good because, again, his crit is scissors. But, you know, lethal type can't really... You know, lethal type is good on it because just to get that bonus damage, even though his crit is scissors. So yeah, Brachylophosaurus, definitely a good dinosaur. Where do I think it deserves to be? I'm going to put it by there. I think it edges out Edmontosaurus, if I'm honest. Alright, now for the one I'm sure you're all looking forward to, the Shantungosaurus. Now, the Shant is very one way or the other. You can either go for attack type, or it has defense type, and, well, one in the middle, counter type, which again, really good synergy. Like, the Shant just cries out for you to use super impact, and it can definitely pack a punch. Pretty well-rounded stats, if I'm honest, to a degree. You know, 900, 500, 500, which is, again, pretty decent. Well, 500 is on par with this guy. So yeah, definitely an A-tier dinosaur. Where to put it, though? Does it edge out... I think it edges out Paris. On its sheer attack power, I think it does edge out Paris. Does it edge out Anata Titan for me? I think Anata Titan... On versatility? No, I'm going to put Shant above it. I think Shant is an absolute monster. It really is. It is a beast of a dinosaur. And I would say, out of the first wave of bronze dinosaurs, I'd actually say it's the best. Like, honestly, I would say that it is the best one out of those six. And those six I'm referring to would be Torvosaurus, Baryonyx, Torosaurus, Edmontonia, Shant, and Ceratosaurus. So yeah, I'd say Shant is just an absolute beast. And if it was a gold dinosaur, I would actually contemplate putting it in S tier. Because it is that good. Right, now for Ultirhinus, a dinosaur renowned for using super impact in the anime. It has crisis type and tide type battle variants. A lot of the silver grass dinosaurs have been kind of underwhelming so far. Well, except for Lance. Ultirhinus, does it fall into that category? No. Because Ultirhinus, I think, is pretty decent. On the basis of it, yeah, I think it's on par with Lanzosaurus, yeah. Ultirhinus, definitely a strong dinosaur. I'm just thinking, might move these two across a bit, because they do have a lot. Yeah. I'm going to move these two across. I do think their bulk edges out. Okay, now for Fukuisaurus. Well, a lot of the grass dinosaurs are really good, aren't they? Now for Fukuisaurus, a crit of rock. Very well-rounded attack set thing. Defense type, crisis type, two pretty good battle type. I think, again, where Fukuisaurus falls short is basically the bulk. But as for it being a good dinosaur, it's definitely a good dinosaur. And I think it does edge out Brachylophosaurus. So for that reason, I'm going to put it by there. Okay, now for Syntheosaurus. Again, you know, decent crit for a 1200er. Again, defense type, counter type. Well, hunter type, which is not very good. But defense type and counter type. Counter type pretty good on it. It has good synergy with super impact. To a degree, in my opinion, it's kind of basically a weaker Shant. That's how I see it. And for that reason, I am going to put it by here. I think it's just basically a Shant, but weaker. That's all I see. Although it does edge it out on technique. So there is that. Okay, now for Alpha Iguanodon. Alpha Iguanodon, where it really suffers is its crit of being skizzers. I'm going to put it by here. I don't think it's that great at all. And probably one of the worst alpha dinos in the game. Yeah, I'm going to put it by there. I think it does edge out these three on bulk. Yeah, I'm actually going to put it below Alpha Rhinosaur. Sorry, no, I think it can win. Alright, now for the regular Iguanodon. Now this regular Iguanodon, well, we'll save the best for last, is actually an interesting dino because it actually has the highest crit out of all the grass dinosaurs. But The biggest issue of it is the fact that its crit is scissors. If this crit was rock or hell, even paper, if its crit was paper, it would be, well, it would out-shant for a start, because it would go up to 1440 with super impact. The fact that its scissors is crit really hurts it though. And, you know, it does have other types as well, so you don't have to use, so blitz type, defense type, so it doesn't have to be, you don't have to focus on that crit, so it does have that in its favour. But I'm gonna put it there. I think it belongs there. So yeah, that's the tier. Well, that's all the normal dinosaurs. Now for the super dinos, and these ones may be interesting because with only one armored dinosaur, I may be tempted to put one or two of these into S tier, which maybe I should. Maybe it should be more lenient with S tier. Okay, we'll start with the Super Parasaurolophus. Well, again, I highly rated the normal Parasaurolophus. Super Parasaurolophus is no exception, and I think because of the Awaken mode, I'm going to put it actually in S tier. Low S. Because let's not forget, this is a tier list comparing the grass dinosaurs. You know, regardless, you know, ignoring all the other dinosaurs. We're just looking at the grass dinosaurs here, and in comparison to the grass dinosaurs, I do think Super Parasaurolophus is pretty strong. And I think it does just deserve a place in S. Okay, now for Super Ultirhinus. Again, Super Ultirhinus, crit a paper, decent crit damage, Awaken mode, bring it to the 1000 technique threshold. Definitely a high A. Yeah, put it in low S actually. I think it deserves a low S. And there's a yeah, but let's not forget, this is grass dinosaurs. Only reason why none of the other super dinosaurs made it into S tier in other tier lists is because there were more than one armored dinosaur. So, you know, the standard was a bit higher, but this time I'm lowering my standards on S tier a little bit. If there was like multiple armored dinosaurs for grass, these two will probably drop down into A tier. But because there's only one, I can justify putting them into S tier. Okay, Super Shant, again, I think it deserves S tier. Is a beast. Okay, now for Super Mutt. Super Mutt does lack a bit of power to go into S tier, so I'm going to put it into high A. And honestly, I'd probably put it below these guys. I don't think it's that good at all. For a Super Dino, I'd probably say he's one of the weakest ones. Okay, now for Super Syntheosaurus. Again, Super Syntheosaurus is, well, as I mentioned with the normal Syntheosaurus, is basically a weaker Shant. And I think it deserves to be on par with the Awaken mode. I think it's on par with the regular Shant. Now for Coryphosaurus, Super Coryphosaurus that is. I think this one can be justified going up here. And as for Super Paris, she has got to go into S. So yeah, that's basically the tier list. Very different this time, mainly because the obviously there's only one armored grass dinosaur, so I could get away with putting more dinosaurs into S tier as I lower my standard. So yeah, pretty interesting tier list. Definitely, I'm sure there's definitely some surprises for you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss out when I do the Wind Dinosaur tier list. And that one I'm definitely looking forward to. And until then, this is Stranger Gamer signing out.